Hello and welcome to another Transfer Market Metrics. It's me and Dr. Bart. I'm filling in for Dave. He's on his holidays. Dave, enjoy your holidays, mate. I know you are. But Bart, how are you, mate? Most importantly, hope you're looking after yourself.
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I was just saying, first pod back since Jota really, and it's been a bit of a weird few days. But Eddie said to me, "Can you do something on these?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, it's a really hot week, isn't it, for being the club? So time to get back on the horse and talk some stats really and some transfers.
Yeah, obviously one of the flagship programs as well, and Anfield Index as well, Red. So if you are watching us on a repeat or whatever, do get involved in the comment section below. We'll get to as many as we possibly can as well. Today's episode, we're going to be ranking, obviously, Ekitike and Isak. Bart will be very much diving into the great detail, statistical analysis, really getting the best profile and what the best characteristics of certain individual players as well, strengths, the weaknesses, how they rank up as well. And then obviously we'll go on to the second section of the show will be, of course, the wingers as well. We've got a little bit on, obviously, Luis Diaz potentially leaving, which he's been rumblings over the last couple of weeks as well, but it looks like it's picking up pace this week. So obviously Bart's got a couple of suggestions. You might know a couple of names anyway, but I don't want to spoil it really. But Bart, obviously, firstly, we'll go obviously into just bring everyone up to date. Everyone's been away from social media this week. Obviously, Ekitike, obviously David Ornstein, Liverpool advancing in talks to sign Hugo Ekitike from Frankfurt for the 23-year-old is progressing on the package worth in excess of 80 million euros. He really wants to move, the Frenchman. So looking quite good, Bart. So are you happy? We'll go straight into, I think you'll be very happy anyway. I know regular viewers of the, obviously, transfer market metrics over the last couple of weeks, that Bart and David quite keen on the played as well. But in terms of the forward options, Bart, in regards to Ekitike and Isak, we'll just bring up, obviously, the situation in regards to... Sorry, Chas. I forgot to mention as well, at this moment in time, Isak, obviously, just as we are on live, it has come out in and around, circulating the media. It looks like Saudi are taking an interest in Alexander Isak, is reportedly given permission to discuss a potential move to Al Hilal. So that's according to McIndoe as well, but there's certain other reports as well. But certainly, both strikers will be ticking a lot of boxes for Liverpool, and that's where Bart comes in perfectly in terms of analysing that data. But Bart will bring up, obviously, the statistics really in regards to Hugo Ekitike. Just what stands out for you in regards to Ekitike's profile for you, mate?
I think regular viewers will know we've done these two a lot. Last time we did it with Victor Osimhen, who's now looks like he's going to Galatasaray permanently. So that's kind of taken that one out of our choices. I think I've always said with Hugo, I see him as a bit of a, Dave would agree, bit of a project forward. So I've never said he's a bad player. It's just for me, we've bought a lot of players this summer. Look like we want to win. We want to maximise the last 2 years of Van Dijk and Mo and Ali. So for me, that's been my only cause of concern with Hugo. He's he's going to give us that output for the next 2 years. So he's not a bad player. I mean, if you look at some of his metrics here, guys are regular viewers now on FB Brief. You can put it up and you can look at where you are. And off the ball, I think both of the players we'll look at tonight in terms of forward lines, they're going to have the limitations, right? Defensively, there are things they need to learn. They're more of an out-and-out 9 than we're used to. We're used to seeing Diaz or back at our Pomp, be doing the rounds and doing the off-ball work for a champion, So there are things that Hugo does. He does interceptions pretty well for forwards, but the rest are kind of in the 50th percentile, which is work to be improved upon. Okay, but between the boxes and in the box, he's in the 90th percentile for a lot of his carries, his touches in the attacking box, and then once he's in the final third and he's in the attacking half and doing the business that you'd expect your striker to be doing, shot creating actions 94th, 96 percentile for non-put XG and XGA. This is really good. 3.74 shots, 93rd percentile per 90. That is, he actually led the Bundesliga in shots last season at 115. Which you can take that in two ways. That's either he needs to get better at shooting, or it's pretty high there, right?
I was going to say, but I think a lot of people say Harry Kane's in that league as well. Obviously, he thrives.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So he outshot Harry Kane. So it's a package, right? But the things you've got to take into account with Hugo is if you look at, we also sometimes use understat. So understat gives us an understanding about where he should be in relation to goals and what he did do. Okay, so this is last season for him. I said it before, he was 8 under what he was expected to score. Okay, and this is just league. In Europe, he was slightly better. When he played for his national side, as you've heard at Sam Maguire's pieces, playing for the French side, he's been very good, So I think there are some elements to look at. But if you look at how does he score his goals? So open play, that's where he finished 7 under. From penalties, obviously, it's got a higher chance of doing that. Set plays, so that's either direct or from being involved in a set play. He finished about par. From corners, about par. Which are those are those little differences, that we spoke about. We slowly started to improve through the season. We weren't very good on set plays. So maybe Hugo can give us something in those areas. If we look at where he's taking his shots, outside the box, he's pretty much bang on. But we don't want him to do many outside the box shots. We'd rather he was doing in the shots, in the box, should we say. If you look at what Slot did with Diaz this season, he removed the shots on the outside and made him concentrate between the two boxes. So when Hugo does that, he actually converts a pretty good rate. Green is a goal on this map. So when you see the shots in between the posts here, there's a lot of green. It's when he's out here that he doesn't score as many, right? So, and that's 6-yard box. He's pretty much on pass. When he's in a 6-yard box, when we pull that ball across in the air and on the ground, he's pretty much on par with his XG. It's just a little bit further out is where he needs to sharpen up. I would suggest. But people who have said that could just be his age. He could have had, it can change. It can do, it could improve, right? And those are all fair arguments to have. And that's why I've always said he's a project player, right? In terms of speed, because we can get that through Bundesliga, he's 35.53 kph, which is pretty quick.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be slow. He's not super quick, but he's not like Frimpong, who's incredibly quick off the mark and he's rapid, but he's still rapid. Okay, so he's a quick player up front. He's in terms of threat. So that's the stat that looks at how effective he is at helping others or creating chances for others, right? So it's the move before the shot. He's at 0.07, which is better than all of our 9s last season. So Jota and Nunes is a level above. So there are lots of things to like about Hugo. In my own sort of data that I'll do with him, he is involved. You can see he's involved in the passing patterns around for his side. This is a typical game. The network there he is in the final third. He's involved, right? It isn't this full-on figure that we've seen in a lot of our games this season where he's not connected, he's not passing, or our 9 isn't doing it, or our 9 is dropping off. This guy's quite happy to be the focal point, but he also links up, which is probably something to look forward to have as a 9. A definite move forward. If we look at those sort of heat maps, he does like to operate in this left side channel. Left side channel, left half space. Okay, so that seems to be his go-to area, but he can operate in the right as well. But he's 25% of his threat, or is on the ball trying to create chances in that left-hand side. So you've got to think about that with what you're operating down that side. So
I was going to say, Bar. How would the dynamic between him and Waite work out, as you said?
And that's going to be interesting because if you are going to sign Hugo and Verts is in that, but Verts will sometimes drift inside from the left if he's playing from the left. If he's playing in the 10 role, then he'll drift out to that area. So I think that's just a point of getting him on the pitch and doing that. But there is a bit of a danger that they could up in the same zone. It's the same as if Diaz is still about, which we'll come on to. They could end up operating in similar zones, okay? So it's just things to be a little bit cautious about. Off the ball, which is what this one is, because he's not that great there, he doesn't really show up. So there's just a thing to note on now. And in that game, though, he actually scored, and it was where we wanted to take the shot. So the other things we'll look at with both players, and I think it's important, is injuries. Yeah, so Hugo has missed a total of he missed one game last season and one game the season before. So that's not a vast injury record. So if you're going to spend that amount of money on a project forward, you kind of want to get him to on the pitch, right? So he's kind of done that. The other thing we will talk about is his minutes played. So he played last season in the Bundesliga 2,500. So I think he's in around 3,000 total. So yeah, he is a robust player. He does offer some similar positions to Isak, probably on the other side. We'll come on to when we look at him. He did underperform his XG this year, so he should have scored more than he did. He can't get away from that. But for assists, he was pretty much spot on, and that threat creation is higher than our current 9. So he is a good. I think it's wrong to say he isn't a quality player. He is a good player. It's just that we've got him to be par. He's got to come in and basically straight away, get in and score the chances he should score. If he's not, I'm not asking him to outperform his XG. I'm just asking him to actually do what he should do. And if he does that, it could be a cracking signing. And if you compare him here, as we'll go on to Isak in a minute, his profile is very similar, right? Yeah. For me, it's not a coincidence that our data boys will do a load of analysis and they'll go, right, well, the similarities are there, right? That's why he's our number 2 choice and Isak's number 1, right? So, you've got a bully tax you've got to take into account when they move from one league or another. It's a slight drop off,
I was going to say, how much is the differential difference between, obviously, the Bundesliga to England?
There's about 15% drop off in stats. So it's a little bit down, but I think you put that in and he still comes in as, again, a good young player. He's got age on his side. He's not going to cost a lot in wages. He's probably going to cost the same amount as we were going to pay, say, for Diaz or slightly less. And his fee is substantially less than Isak's going to be. I know it's going. I don't know what the latest figure today was. It 80 million euros, probably something.
Yeah, I think it's in and around. I think like a 6-year deal as well. So potentially for Ekitike. So not too bad. Is it?
Yeah, not too bad. So for me, he's a young kid. He does take up good positions for a kid. He scores with his head. Very dominant on his. I think it's his right foot. I can't remember which one around is now, but the other foot's kind of a bit of a stand. Didn't take many shots on. Does help create size, but it's just always that point of, can he improve his conversion rate going forward? His big chance conversion is actually pretty good, which is when it's a big chance at 0.2 or 0.25 XG and above. So the ones actually that people ever go at Nunes for missing, right? They're the ones that he's actually not bad at in terms of conversion rate. So for me, I wouldn't be upset, but I think if you've had the carrot of having Isak and you end up with Hugo, there's going to be a bit disappointed, right? That's not fair. It's not his fault, probably, but I think the data boys don't get a lot wrong, and there's a lot to like in the data. Just for me, it's always been about, I want to win next season, and I know that's a bit short-termist, but I want to win next season. I don't really want to have to wait for a player to come for age.
Yeah, I think we're all the same, mate, isn't it? And I think it's like with any player that comes to Liverpool, you'll know, mate, and we'll all Reds know, like, it's that ability. Some players have it, some players don't. Like Nunes hasn't worked out. But it's interesting that you've said already on that analysis, mate, and I think a lot of people will be excited that he's come from one of the chances created that Frankfurt obviously finished third in the Bundesliga. So it's only his second time in their club's history as well. So that's massive for them. And he's going to be coming to Liverpool, and probably Liverpool, as we've seen over the last 12 months since Arnie's come in, we create loads of chances. So it just like he's always going to get opportunities. It's just, as you said, it's great that he's staying 100%, like majority of it fit. I mean, that's one of the massive things really in any forward in the Premier League, just getting that guaranteed consistency. Just a final one in terms of just think for anyone watching or listening, and when I've had a little go at analysis anyway, not to your extent, mate. Is the blocks? I think everyone might. Is that a point of maybe potential? Is that something that it improved that at Liverpool, one because that was one critique.
I think it's so. Our forwards, we would typically ask them to block to do interceptions. Is a good one. It's sort of you're in the passing lane, but it's the blocking the ball out. Tackles, we don't normally want them to do, and that's committing. You're out of play. But anything between interceptions and blocks, you probably need to improve upon. The other thing that we use our forwards is aerials, right? In defending the box, right? So he's not going to be at 56%, so he's not going to be much use defensively on an aerial ability. So that would be a slight concern. I took Díaz like 2 seasons to learn how to help defend the set play. I think the off-ball work Slot would have to work with him for, but I think that's also fair to say as the next level we're going to look at, to be honest with you.
Yeah, certainly. So we'll segue into that fella, this Swedish machine that he is. As we said at the top of the show, he has been linked with Saudi this evening. As we know, with sports news, it can quickly develop anyways. When this video is out, it might have developed. I think every Liverpool fan would, me and Bart, we'd all love both of them, but that's just being greedy anyway. But maybe. But Isak, I've watched, I think the regular viewers of the obviously TMM, mate. It'd be very much, he ticks all the boxes. I hate using the word prem proven, and that's awful. But like it not really. Sorry, it's a proper analysis point of view. But for me, when I look at players, if they're doing it in the Premier League, that transition from other leagues, some players have, like Núñez has struggled in terms of adapting to the league, but I think he's done really well. But in terms of the strengths, I think we all know the strengths, Bart, in regards to Isak. Is he?
Yeah,
has he got the whole package for you?
I mean, off the ball, I think he's still the same, right? It's actually pretty characteristic of all the forwards that we've looked at since we moved away from Alvarez, right? Which I'd still love to get Alvarez, but he's not going to come right. Yeah. We'll put him to one side. But the 3 we've been left with as an options have all had this thing about the off ball needs work on. So I think it's just a profile thing that they've looked at, and they'll go, Slot will improve that. Okay, Slot is a good trainer; he can do that, right? So. Blocks is higher than Hugo, but he's less in terms of tackles and interceptions. So, horses for courses on much of that off-ball stuff, to be honest with you. But in between the boxes, so you got carries at 93rd, you got passes 87, he passes 77%. His completion rate's pretty high. Progressive passes received, that means he's receiving it higher up to go and play 88. If you look at what he does in the box, slightly lower percentiles on some of these, but so he's taking slightly less shots. He's taking 3.1, whereas I think Hugo was nearly 3.5. Shot creating action is 3, whereas Hugo's a little bit higher. But as you say, this is in the Premier League. You haven't got to apply that reduction tax. It's Premier League. They're all green. They're in high elements. He's non-penalty goals and assists. He's 87%, so it's about 0.7 a game. It's pretty decent. It's more than decent. So there's a lot to like about him. The key things that people look at for Isak will be minutes played in the league. Last season in the league, he played 2,000, just short of 3,000 minutes. I think if you had the cup games in, he came in at about just over 3,300 minutes. So. Given that our forwards typically do fight over 5.5K.
Yeah, I was going to say, how does that compare in previous other seasons for Isak?
So he's actually crept up in terms of minutes, but I think I was in Discord last night chatting to a few boys, and so he has increased his minutes from when he first signed, right, which was over 2 seasons, but that's still that's just below. Given the amount of games Liverpool play, which is in the 60s, right? That's you're missing. I mean, let's be kind. Let's say there's 3,500. You're still missing 2,000 minutes, nearly 2,500 minutes of a forward. And we know what that's like. This season we've played Díaz there. Great. brilliant. But that isn't exactly what Slot wanted in his 9, right? And there was games where you could have done with Diaz out wide to really go at the fullback, and you couldn't because you didn't have a 9. It ended up being the most played combination, Cody, Diaz, and Mo. And it worked really well. I'm not knocking them, but I don't think that was a Slot's original plan. I think just because of injuries and a player not quite getting the message across, we ended up having to do that. So if he's going to buy a 9, yeah, the availability of Isak has always been a bit of a worry of mine. I'm never going to, Dave will always tell you that. It's my only thing I'm really worried about is this availability. But everything else, as you say, he's played the Premier League. There's no conversion tax. He scored goals. He assists. He does a lot of the good things. If we look at him in terms of how he links up, again, a player that likes to be involved, a player that's hovers on the right side though, whereas Hugo remembers on the left side. So this person could dovetail with Mo or get in the way of Mo. Depends on which way you want to look at it. Yeah. Or if he's close to Mo could just be nice giving him balls all the time. And then you got Verts coming in the other side, could be, and then maybe Dom crashing the box from the 10. You could have a nice plethora of, and Kirker's coming down the left. We start talking about next season, you start getting way too excited. But I'm just saying, these could complement, like Hugo could complement as well. But he takes some good positions in the half spaces here with the passes. If we look at some of the, so as I said, his threat touch maps on the right, so 30% in the right half space. Remember, Hugo is 25% on the left, so he's operating different side of the pitch. Not to say he can't operate on the left. I'm just saying he operates a different side by chance. Yeah. Off the ball, what to just be fair, again, very limited. All right, same as Hugo, not the touch map you want to see. And if you look at his shot map, again, right side dominant with a shot inside the width of the goals and 2 on the outside, but he more accurate in terms of shots on target. So 2 shots out of 4 on target, whereas Hugo's a little bit less than that. Just looking at some of the other things we would just for comparison, if you look at his injury record, and again, as I've said, it's a one area of concern with Isak. He has missed a lot of days, but if you convert that to games, that has been coming down. So over the last 3 years, it's come down from 18 to 12 to 9. He only missed 9 games through injury last season, but it's still 9 games, right? It's still, it's, imagine we're away at City and we're in the runner and he can't play. It's that kind of thing. And I think that's my only, as I said, it's my one worry is if I'm spending that amount of money on a player, which is rumoured to be £130 million, I kind of want him to be bomb-proof, if I'm being frank with you. I want him to be there when I need to play him. So, but the boys in the club seem to be happy with that. And I think the guys they've got in terms of training are clearly showing they can keep players on the pitch longer. Look at Konate. His minutes have been up this season. Just for comparison, Isak's minutes are exactly the same as Konate's last season. So if you want to know availability in terms of picturing it in your own side, that's about the same level the two of them are. So that's 2/3 of the season Konate was fit for. He missed a third. That's kind of what you're kind of getting with Isak. He's in terms of speed, he's 34.2, so he's slower than Hugo. He's quick, but I'm just not saying he's not rapid.
How does Isak rank in terms of other players of that speed in the Premier League? Do you know?
I'd have to look that up. That's a very good question, man. That's an
outstanding
question. So Nunes is quicker than that. So Nunes is in around Hugo's speed, but not so much. He's probably, I think he's about, Jota's lost a bit of pace. Did lose a bit of pace, sorry. And Isak would probably be there in and around that mark. Diaz this season, obviously slower since the knee injury. So I think he's not going to give you that Mane lightning quick, but he's still quick for forward. In terms of threat, he's 0.08, which again is quicker than our current 9s. The deal, I think it's all that. I think that he's looking for about 220, 250, so it's almost double what Hugo be asking for a week. So it's kind of, it will cost you a lot more money, but I think you probably get. I think you're getting a better player, but
it's getting that right balance, and it I think in terms of speaking hypothetically, really, would Isak, if he was to come to Liverpool, massively benefit with that? Obviously, a Newcastle had Callum Wilson, very injury prone as well. He was always the main threat, but could that injury, like as he said, he has improved over the last 3 years as well. But if he was to come to Liverpool, could it very much dovetail really that Liverpool ideally have like two main attacking players? Of course, Arne needs that ability to be very flexible tactically in games as well. Could that injury like history improve in the future? Obviously, 26 as well, Isaac. So we'd be getting quite a fair bit of wage, but he'll be getting his probably last contract in his career. In all honesty, probably if he was to sign for Liverpool, hypothetically, it'd be like a 5-6 year or whatever. Mate, could that improve? Because as he said, we play a lot of games. It wouldn't necessarily just be Isaac, would it?
I think this is where I think I said last night. Signing both of them, right, isn't as mad as you think, right? I know people will be like, "What you were talking about? That's a lot of money," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And you have to think about, obviously, why would Hugo come to be a rotation player and all that kind of stuff? And I accept that, all right, and that's probably a reason why it wouldn't happen. But in terms of sharing those minutes out, right, that actually works quite well. If you have 3,000 each. Right, you can develop Hugo. This is Isak's probably, as you said, last contract, right? He does the business for us, and you work. You've got his predecessor in. So there is, but I think if you're going to sign this player, and this is why it was the Palace lad that we were linked to. Links like that interest me because it means that they're thinking, all right, we'll go and get Isak, and we know he can't do all the minutes we do, so we need to
play the League Cup and FA Cup games. It's crucial.
It's that kind of thing because I'm not sure Dan's is going to be held about. I think he's going to get sent on loan. Chiesa is, I think he's a cracking player, but I'm not sure Slot values him. So therefore, there's a spot in the squad. I think we'd be lying to ourselves if we didn't all think about the fact there's probably about 2,000 minutes we need to find from someone. To play up front, because even if we do improve his injury record, which we could do, right? Our team are infinitely better than Newcastle. That's a bit harsh. Our team are better than Newcastle's. They've got all the squads have got good backman stuff. We've got some great guys involved in us, and also as consultants involved with the club. So we have a good range of people around our players. But that's a lot to ask to produce. To add 2,000 minutes to a player's availability is a lot to ask in a season. Maybe 2 down the road, maybe. But he's not getting any younger, as you said, right? And typically, as players get older, they become less available. Mo's just a unicorn, and Van Dijk's a unicorn. We have to kind of put them to one side and say, do you know what? You don't buy many unicorns anymore. So
Yeah, the main thing is we got the money now, but I think the club will run perfectly in regards to the finances.
Yeah.
So maybe if we're in dreamland, maybe it might happen, but you never know. A lot can happen in football. But so in terms of your analysis, do you want to summarize in regards to those two players, mates? Anyway, and are you happy to move on to obviously the forward as well?
I think the thing people have to get their head around is seemingly reading the multiple updates online. I think the Isak deal is I don't think it's dead, but it kind of seems to be down to a couple of people to make a call. And if they make a call, then he's out there, right? That's just me looking at the socials, thinking that I think that's what the lines are. And Hugo's pretty much there as a backup. So I think that's where we are. I think Isak, for me, I would say with the signings we've made and Isak and the rest of it, and provided we don't lose Konate, I would say that makes them favourites for the title. It really does, to retain the title. Whereas if we don't get him or we get Hugo, I still think it puts us in the top two. I just don't think it might not make us absolute clear favourites. I think if Hugo hits the ground running, then go on then, knock it on, we'll crack on and we'll do our business. So I think that's where I'm at. I think Hugo could become a really good player for us. A really, really good player. It looks like he's got the profile. He's got all the attributes. He's just a bit of a project for me to win next year. But he could come in, love the training. Slot could get his arm around, all that kind of stuff that he's good at for hone his game. As you said, we create more chances in Frankfurt. So, he could first couple of games, scores a couple, and he's away. The confidence improved, and we could be going, do you know what? Glad we didn't spend 130 million pounds. So but if it was me, I'd still be pushing hard for the Swede. But I wouldn't be as upset about getting a Hugo as some others are around. So there you go.
So there we go, Reds. That was obviously a great analysis from Bart in regards to Isak and, of course, Ekitike. So exciting times, Reds. We're in the hunt for strikers as well. So we're flying, Reds, and it'd be great, as Bart said there, we can get one of them. But going in swiftly to the second section of the TMM this evening as well. Obviously, there has been reports this evening as of recording, especially over the last weeks as well. Dave and Bart have alluded to these as well. Just quickly show, obviously, if that will let me. Maybe 1 second there, chat. I'll just quickly show you that. Obviously, the latest up-to-date with Luis Diaz is not only informed Liverpool of his desire to leave, but has also made it clear to LFC that he would like to join FC Bayern if possible. The transfer is approved, allegedly, by Vincent Kompany as well. There's no full agreement between Bayern and Diaz yet. However, personal terms are not an issue, with potential contracts running until 2029 as well. It's not up to Bayern it's up to Bayern to reach the agreement with Liverpool. If not, Diaz could join another club. Barcelona remains interested, but would currently be unable to register him as well. That's come from Florian Plassenberg of Sky Germany as well. A lot of conflicting reports, especially over the last couple of weeks as well. I think that as fans and as a club, most importantly, Liverpool we're not going to get bullied into a situation where we're trying to sell players on the cheap. No, if you want one of our players, Diaz 28, as Bart will allude to in his analysis in a little second as well, in terms of he done really well last season, got like 14, 15 odd goals in the Premier League, was instrumental, quite patchy in moments, as we all know. But Bayern, cough up the money. You had it for weights anyway. So you've got the money. So Bart, obviously we've been linked, of course, with obviously Rodrygo, the Brazilian winger. It was reported over the last week or so as well that Liverpool allegedly, in certain reports around Europe, that Liverpool had sent over a delegation for the Brazilian, and Liverpool were in negotiations, but time will tell with that. But in terms of obviously a very high caliber player, Rodrygo as well, we've got a couple of options down that left hand side as well. Gordon has been linked, obviously he's already been on TMM, and we're going to have a little look at him as well this evening. But a lot of options, Bart, in regards. But first, we'll just have a look at Luis Diaz in terms of, you just let us know your analysis really on Diaz.
I think people might get me wrong, and I think you said before, I've got no issue with Diaz, right? But he's 28. He's up for a new contract, and it'll be a big contract. It's his last contract. And myself and a few others who've written about, it's that quandary as a club. Do you give a guy who's had his best ever season, right, who's still a bit patchy, best ever season, a 5-year deal with more money, right? That's a risk that he's going to be able to maintain that at 28, right, as he's entering twilight of his career. So there could be 2 years past he's 30, where he completely falls off a cliff and you've got no resale back. So that's a boring financial point of view, because the fans, you're like, had a great season, let's reward him. But just the evidence is, this is his best ever season. He's been here, a period of time now. And he's never really been able to put it together for a sustained period of time. So that's only been my thing with him. He's got 2 profiles on F-Brief. You can look at it as a winger. He does it again. It's a bit of a patchy profile, right? Off the ball, he does good for tackles. He's not great for blocks and interceptions. Carrying the ball, which is what we know him for. He picks up. He's only 61st. He doesn't do many progressive carries, so he doesn't carry from deep. Carries further up. His pass completion is good, but that's kind of a standard Liverpool player thing. And in the box as a winger, he's 92nd for non-penalty goals. Shot connection 75th, but he doesn't get enough shots. He's still shots total. He's only 2.5 a game. You look at him as a forward. His off-ball work is exceptional as a forward, right? So when he's played in that false 9 position, he does box interception tackles in the green and 97 percentile for tackles, which is amazing. That's a pressing and nicking it, right?
Yeah.
If you look at him in between the boxes as a forward, again, he goes from being a patchy to a consistent 98, 97 percentiles. Shots wise in the box, 2.5 puts him a little bit lower down as a forward because you'd be taking, we've seen the last two we looked at, 3 or 3.5 shots a game. He's taking a whole shot less a game, right? But shot creating action is 97 percentile. So if he's not taking a shot, he's creating something for somebody else. So there is a lot to like about him, right? And I'm not knocking that. I'm not knocking his ability as a player, right? If you look at his minutes and in the league minutes alone, if I just find it down, that's 2-3. All right, so that's pretty much on par or more than the other two lads, right? So, and he's been consistent with that in the league. So there's a lot to like about Diaz. He's involved in play. You know, he wants to be on the ball. He's touching it. He's in the areas. There's lots of things to like about this kid. That's his heat map as a far more expansive than the other two lads we just looked at. Yeah, he picks it up in the left half space, but that's kind of what you'd expect for him, right? Off ball, again, he actually does some off ball work. So again, he's tracking back. He's putting the work in, right? So there is a lot to like about Diaz. So that's just not knocking it. It's just saying he's 28. Is it, if you look at his career here over the seasons for Liverpool, he's, what was that? That's his goals there. On par when he first joined, just above the season later. Last season, 4 under. This season, bang on. And assists, he goes from being on par or slightly over. Yeah. So there are some things there. If you look at situation, generally scoring from open play, doesn't do much from the other areas, all right? Doesn't take penalties for us either. Shot areas, if we look at last season, he changed quite a bit. He came in a bit. Season before, he was a little bit all over the place around here. Whereas Slot got rid there. So that's the season before last. And his Slot reduced it and just made him shoot a lot more in the box and also between the posts. So there is some, what I'm trying to say, he's improved. I'm not sure he can improve.
I was going to say, obviously the two players we just mentioned anyway in terms of Isak and Ekitike. Do you think this could be suggesting that it going into not just this season but beyond under Arne, a different shift in terms of the mentality of a centre forward or striker of what he wants? As he said there, with his heat map in terms of defensive abilities, he's all over the pitch. Well, does this kind of suggest, like, Arne, obviously he had Jimenez at Feyenoord as well, obviously before he's currently at AC Milan, I think, now as well. Like a more of a box, like number 9, an actual, like a Robbie Fowler-esque or an Owen, not just a naturally gifted finisher. Just to, like, I think the game that sticks out to me and a lot of Liverpool fans is, I don't know how you feel, is obviously the game against Paris Saint-Germain. When you've not got the ball, that when you are on a counter attack, you might not have a lot of counter attacks, but when it matters, we need someone in the 6-yard box that will be a clinical finisher. Like,
and I think you're right. I think it's that ability to finish in a tight game at big chances. I mean, season before last, we're going for the title. We've got City at home. It's 1-0, I think it was. He's clean through and got 1-1 with a keeper twice, puts them both over. And for me, that was one of the moments where title attack fell off. If we'd beaten City then, I think we would have got top of the league, and who knows?
Momentum, innit?
Momentum, Klopp's last season, you never know, but we didn't beat City. We should have done. And I'm not blaming it just on Diaz, but he did have 2 cracking chances. He just needed to have a bit more finishing about him. So and if you look, he's actually on what's that, 12? 12 and 12. Even Hugo 15 and Isak before. So playing as a 9. So there are different roles, and I get that, and I accept that. All right. So there is a forward here, forward left. As a forward of his own, he's actually 1 under for XG. When he's played as a forward on the left, he's 4 under. So I think it's just, if we just compare that to just last season. So when he was playing last season, as a forward, he finished 1-1-8, so in and around the right areas, but the other areas he's under and over. So yeah, there are some things. So what I'm trying to say is Diaz is a good player. It's more about a contract thing for the club. If you compare him to Rodrygo, right, who is the guy who's been linked, he has 3 profiles. I don't think we're going to use him in midfield, but if we look at him as attacking winger, he's in the 80th percentile in between the boxes, and he's higher than Diaz off the ball as well. In the box, not as good. Shots, for example, about the same. Shot creating actions, about the same, but then his assists and his goals are a little bit less. Okay, so there are some differences there. Rodrygo can play. I think he can play left and right.
Yeah, left, right, and through the middle as well. And just a quick note as well. Obviously, the ability to press as well. He ran the most for Real Madrid last season in the Champions League. So that ability to press, what you need really in it as well, Bart.
Oh, 100%. And you've got, I think people, if you take last season out of the equation, right, because the big man from PSG arrived and therefore took him out of the side. But pre that, so the team that actually beat Liverpool in the last Champions League final they were in, this guy was in, right? So he was an instrumental part of that side, playing down the middle, and he'd also float out to the other wings to help out, right? So he can be a very good player. I think people just need to not think about last season's contribution, because if you've gone from being the centre forward to being knocked out because some guys come in, it's probably going to affect your attitude, right? I would suspect. But comparing him here with Diaz, the blue here, this is both as AMs, so both as that sort of attacking midfielder. Rodrygo outperforms him in terms of passing and progresses and take-ons, but Diaz has got slightly more non-penalty goals. Okay, so some things to take for. If we flick it to forwards, they are... Rodrygo goes from being, that's where he starts turning it again. Diaz was good off the ball as a forward. Rodrygo is as well in the 90th percentile for those 3. Diaz, I think it was in the 80th, if I'll come back and have a look. All in the midfield, all of the stuff in between the boxes, apart from the touches in the box, are all in the 99th or 98th percentile. So as a forward, he's doing the passing, the covering, the carrying the ball progressively. In the box, though, he's in 97th percentile for shot creating actions. Shots, he's set at 2.5, which is not so great, but he's doing so it's XGA, so expected assists. He's actually a high percentile, so he's assisting the ball more in the box and taking the shot on. So he's a different type of forward than it's similar to Diaz, to be fair. So, but if you overlay the two there, very similar as a forward. But Rodrygo more assists and actually more off the ball work than Diaz. But again, Diaz outperforming in the scoring ranks. So yeah, I think Rodrygo, I think is he younger? He's 24. So he's 4 years younger. You're probably going to give him the contract you might that Diaz was after, so he's going to get a bigger contract, but you'll get 4 years out of him. Doing that thing, whereas with Diaz, there's a risk you might only get 1 or 2, right? Looking at the go on.
I was just saying, he's been there, done that, mate, isn't he? Won the Champions League, he's played in that elite level environment. He's been there, won it, wore the t-shirt, really, hasn't he? For
he has. He's won Champions League. There's a lot to be said about buying winners. He's involved in play here. What I'm trying to show here, he's involved heavily in the pass networks. I know Madrid have a lot of the ball, and that's a fair crack to have a go at. He is involved, but he creates nearly 5% of their threat. Pass completion of 90 forward is pretty exceptional. Most of ours get about a 75, 80. So very, very tidy looking after the ball. If you look at his threat, his map on the right in the game. This game here I did for him. So, but he can operate, we know he can operate both sides. Off the ball, we know he's not not a strong point, should we say, but Madrid don't do a lot of work off the ball, all right? So, because they have like high percentage amount of ball in game. So, yeah, for me, I think think it could be a very astute signing if the deal is right. I don't know what. Have you got any idea of the numbers that are being bandied around?
60, 70, 80 million euros, which a similar fee in regards to obviously if Liverpool do sell Diaz. That's what we mentioned in this section as well. I think a lot of this deal might hinge on regards to if we do offload Diaz, and as you said already on the analysis, quite similar in certain aspects of his style of play as well, mate.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you said, he's younger as well. So, like, how would that fare for you in regards to obviously the positioning and statistics as well?
I think just showing up what he did. So last season he got should have scored 12, scored 10. So he was underperformed. Sorry, season before last season he underperformed. This season in his limited minutes, he only played just short of 2,000 minutes because he was second fiddle coming on sub. He scored 6, should have scored 4.7, so overperformed. And same with assists, he slightly underperformed. Overperformed assists as well. Only should have assisted 4 goals, assisted 5. So if you look at how he was open play, majority from corners. If you look at shot zones, he's interestingly penalty box, which is what you want. And so, it's generally shot types. What's he dominant on? He's right foot dominant, left foot's a bit of a stander, and he doesn't really head the ball. So, there's some things to look at. But for me, for that, if you sell Diaz, I think that the thing I saw today was 80 million might get it done for Bayern, maybe. Yeah. And you're getting a player in who is 4 years younger, has won a lot in the game, has similar, if not better, profile than Diaz in some areas, and some areas not. So has an opportunity to. And again, he has 4 years worth of slot worker with improving him. That seems like a very smart piece of business. To be fair, that seems quite smart. If you compare him to Gordon, who is the other option that we've been looking at, he takes up. Gordon's involved as well, has different profiles in F brief, but we'll look him up in a minute. He's involved in a different. Newcastle play differently than us and Real Madrid. They don't. They sometimes
on the
play
front foot.
Liverpool
there on the front foot, aren't they? So
whereas Newcastle can play a bit of counter attacking, which Gordon's very wide in these areas, creating threat, which is not a problem. It's only different areas to what Rodrygo and Diaz do. Off the ball, quite deep involvement, but again, that's them banking. They generally drop off and defend. If they can't win it high, they drop off and win it. So there is some things with Gordon to be aware of. He did take shots in this game, but no, I think I'm trying to load him up for his F brief, but I think Rodrygo makes a lot of sense. He's very similar to Diaz. I think Gordon is a different kind of player altogether. Just get it to load up. It would be business, but I'll just wait for that. Previous season.
It's all good. It's the thing that whilst that loads, like Gordon makes it as in chat as well. Like, I think he's my personal. I know obviously the option there is there for Rodrygo. I love both of them, but obviously that English tax as well. But I think similar age profile him and Rodrygo, aren't they? Gordon and Rodrygo.
25, 24.
Plenty of time to develop.
Yeah, this is Gordon's, right? And I don't know what. When I last watched Gordon play, I thought he had a good game against us, but I talked to other Newcastle fans, maybe dropped off end of the season. I don't know, but he's maybe not had as good a season as he was because he was linked to us last summer, wasn't he? And he'd probably come off a really good season back then. So this is a little bit different. But what you initially is not a lot of green there. This is last year, right? It's not as good as Rodrygo or Diaz. There's only one profile. They've got him down as attacking winger or mid. And if you compare him to Rodrygo pretty much outdoes him on all the metrics, bar aerials and non-penalty XG, creation and assisted goals. So it's a bit, they're the same age profile. One's won everything in the game and the next a little bit higher. In terms of moving from La Liga to England, the tax is, I think it's about between 5 and 10%. So it's a pretty easy, it's an easy walk, should we say, than a transition. Sorry, that's a good word. A transition than other leagues. Newcastle, in terms of his minutes last season, just trying to find out where he was in the league. So he actually played slightly less last season in the league for Newcastle for 2-4. So yeah, I think I said last time I'd actually have been happy with Gordon because at that time they had given us a patchy season, right? So that was what we're looking at. Now Diaz has gone up a level, and now I'm like, Gordon hasn't had such a good season. I think there's a bit of a gap, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I think the year before last it was like 10 goals as well. I think like 10 goals, 10 assists as well. And like I think that was the year like in around 22 as well. But I think, as you all know, Bart, and obviously the data will prove it as well. When you go to bigger teams, like you're playing with better players as well. Like both like his XG and all that. And no respect to Newcastle, but there's levels really in regards to moving from the expectations of a Newcastle to a Real Madrid or a Liverpool as well. And as similar when we mentioned with Isak and Ekitike, as long as whoever comes in through the forward line, just hitting the ground running, most importantly. And I think he speaks really well, Gordon. But I do, like, when you've went through a lot of that data as well for Gordon, it is, I think a lot of Liverpool fans might be a bit concerned as well. But I think in regards to how, have you any more that you wanted to add in regards to this analysis as well, miss?
Is there any more?
Yeah,
it was for the forwards. No, I did.
How
would you rank them?
Yeah, I was going to say how in the pecking order out of those that you've mentioned for you personally, looking at all the data.
I think, as I said last summer, I think I was very much in the Gordon camp. I was like, you know what, if Diaz wants to go, fine, he goes. I think Gordon, because he's younger, you could build him up, and he just had a good season. Now a year on, and football's a funny game, right? He's not had such a good season. He's still a good player, right? It's not knocking him. He's still a good player. But if you're talking a similar kind, I mean, Gordon's also not going to be cheap, right? I don't know what the fee's banning about, but I can't imagine it'll be.
They're not best to please Newcastle currently at the moment.
No,
with Liverpool, especially.
I think this deal might be incredibly difficult to do. Whereas last season, because he was approaching the end of a contract, it was going to be slightly easier. So I think personally, for the amount of money that seemingly we could get Rodrygo for, and if Diaz does go, I think Rodrygo is the sound bet for me. If you think about our front line last season, and they were great, by the way, as I said, Mo, Diaz, and Cody, brilliant, right? But if you then change that up and you end up with a front line of let's just touching all the wood in the world and praying to all your deities that it's Mo, Isak, and Rodrygo. To me, that's a massive upgrade. And then you've got a Verts sat behind them, potentially. Yeah. Or if you play Verts to the left, you play Rodrygo down the middle, covering up for the Isak minutes problem, right? Again, those combinations, you've still got Cody in the mix, yeah? You might still have Chiesa around. That combination of 6-7 attacking players is really something to be excited about, I think, next season with Red. So, yeah, for me, it's not my money, but if it was my money and I'll be selling Diaz for 80 million euros, Brown just said, yeah, you can have Rodrygo for 80 million euros, I'd do that deal.
Yeah, if you could pick two of them as well, mate, in terms of, I think obviously Rodrygo was a fan favourite for you as well, and a lot of Liverpool fans out there. How would you, like the final analysis, really, the overall package in terms of you have to pick two, and who, if you went Rodrygo, who would the other striker for you be in terms of getting the best, facilitating in terms of ticking all the boxes from a data point of view, from your in regards to Isaac?
It'd still be Isak, to be honest. And actually, to be fair, with Rodrygo's availability being, I should check his minute, he's an injury record, but his availability for me would help make up for Isak's minutes going. So those would be my two picks. That are just short of £200 million, which I never thought I'd be saying Liverpool spending that kind of money, but seemingly they're going to. Because of that fact, if it wasn't for the fact that I think we need to win in the next 2 years,
win now.
I probably would be like, no, let's not spend that money on Isak. Let's go for Hugo. But because I think we've got a slightly different mood, I'd I'd go for Rodrygo and Isak. I wouldn't be unhappy with Hugo and Rodrygo. Definitely not. Those would be my top two choices if you had to push me.
There we go, Reds. So that has been Transfer Market episode 35, I think it is, this evening. Bart, for all your analysis and all your expert insight, as always, very much appreciated, mate. And thank you for... I've learned a lot, and a lot of Liverpool fans out there as well have certainly learned a lot. But if it's the first time tuning in this evening for the Transfer Market Stat Me Up episode as well, make sure you head over to Anfield Index, Anfield Index Pro, I'll get there, to find out even more and listen to the full podcast in its full entirety as well. But Bart, for all your time and all your analysis, a massive thank you for me and everyone at home watching and listening. Have a good rest of your day as well, mate. And yeah, as we said already, hopefully Liverpool can spend all the pocket change in the world that we've got, mate.
Exactly. All the best, Reds.
All the best. Reds, look after yourself and see you on the next one. Hopefully Dave will be back from his holiday as well. So yeah, you'll be none of me, but you'll be Dave and Bart back. The usual analysis as well. But Reds, look after yourself and you'll never walk alone.